Aroma.
hương vị.
An aroma is a scent or smell.
I love the aroma of coffee in the morning.
Beverage.
Đồ uống.
A beverage is a drink.
The waiter brought our beverages first. Then he brought our food.
Cluster.
Đàn bó
A
nải.
cluster of things is a small group of them placed close together.
She held a large cluster of grapes in her hand.
Combine.
Kết hợp.
To combine is to join together to make a single thing or group.
Mina combined peanut butter and jelly to make a sandwich.
Condensed.
Cô đặc.
When a liquid is condensed, it is made thicker.
One way to make a dessert thick and sweet is to use condensed milk.
Contemporary.
Đương đại.
When something is contemporary, it is related to the present time.
Contemporary scientists have learned quite a bit about DNA.
Cultivate.
Trồng trọt.
To cultivate plants is to care for them and help them grow.
A research company is cultivating new kinds of rice to aid poor countries.
Divine.
Thiêng liêng.
When something is divine, it is related to gods.
Legends say that music was given to men as a divine gift from the gods.
Humid.
Ẩm.
When it is humid, there is a lot of water in the air.
It is very humid inside of a sauna.
Odor.
Có mùi.
An odor is a very distinct smell.
He knew there was a leak when he noticed the strong odor of natural gas.
Palate.
Vòm miệng.
The palate is the top part of the mouth.
You can touch your palate with your tongue.
Paradise.
Thiên đường.
Paradise is the place or condition of happiness where things are perfect.
My vacation in Hawaii was like being in paradise.
Plantation.
Đồn điền.
A plantation is a big farm that only grows certain kinds of crops.
In the 1800s, there were many cotton plantations in the southern U.S.
Rapid.
Nhanh chóng.
When something is rapid, it moves or changes very quickly.
His mother was surprised by her son's rapid growth.
Rate.
Tốc độ, tỷ lệ.
A rate is the speed at which something happens.
Grass tends to grow at a very slow rate.
Soothing.
Dễ chịu.
When something is soothing, it makes you calm or relaxed.
The soothing music helped the baby fall asleep.
Subtle.
Tinh tế.
When something is subtle, it is not easy to see or notice.
The handsome man has a subtle smile.
Texture.
Kết cấu.
Texture is the quality of something that can be known by its touch.
The texture of her skin was very soft and smooth.
Toxic.
Độc.
When something is toxic, it is poisonous. Toxic things are very dangerous.
Please check the label to see if the product is toxic.
Vary.
Biến đổi, thay đổi.
To vary means to be different from another thing in size or amount.
The heights of the people in my class vary by a large amount.
Accident.
Tai nạn.
An accident is an unexpected, undesirable event.
She had to go to the hospital after she was in a serious car accident.
Admiral.
Đô đốc, chỉ huy.
An admiral is someone who controls many military ships.
They won the sea battle because of the admiral's great leadership.
Arc. Hình cung.
An arc is a curved shape.
A rainbow has the shape of an arc.
Character.
Nhân vật, tính cách.
Your character is your personality.
My sister's character is fun and very outgoing.
Conscience.
Tâm hồn, lương tâm.
Your conscience is your inner sense of what is right and wrong.
I recycle everything I can, so my conscience is clear.
Fiery.
Dễ cháy, nồng nhiệt.
If something is fiery, it is burning strongly.
The fiery blaze burned all night long.
Flesh.
Da thịt.
Flesh is the skin, muscle, and fat on your body.
The zebra's flesh has black and white stripes.
Grapefruit.
Quả bưởi.
A grapefruit is a fruit similar to an orange, but bigger and not as sweet.
Would you like a grapefruit with your breakfast?
Hay.
Cỏ khô.
Hay is dry grass used to feed animals or used as a covering.
I need to buy some more hay for the horse to sleep on.
Horrified.
Kinh hoàng.
If you are horrified, you are very shocked and feel upset.
I was horrified when I read about the old lady who was attacked.
Kerosene.
Dầu.
Kerosene is a type of oil. It is used in some lamps and stoves.
Many people in poor countries cook on kerosene stoves.
Loop.
Vòng, thòng lọng.
A loop is a line made into the shape of a circle.
He made a loop with the rope and placed it over the post.
Paddle.
Mái chèo.
A paddle is a piece of wood or plastic that moves a boat across water.
We need a paddle to help us move across the water.
Raft.
Chiếc bè.
A raft is a floating platform made from pieces of wood tied together.
The man made a raft out of bamboo and floated out to sea.
Sour.
Chua.
When something is sour, it has a sharp and unpleasant taste.
I don't like lemons because I think they are too sour.
Steak.
Cái cọc.
A stake is a small, sharp piece of wood or metal that is put into the ground.
We marked our property by placing stakes into the ground.
Steward.
Tiếp viên, người phục
A
vụ.
steward is a person like a waiter who serves food on planes and ships.
The steward is bringing some tea.
String.
Dây, chuỗi.
String is a thin piece of fabric or rope.
I found a large ball of string.
Thorn.
Gai.
A thorn is a sharp part of a plant.
Be careful of the thorns when you pick the roses.
Wreck.
Phá hoại, làm
To
đắm.
wreck something means to destroy or ruin it.
The teenagers wrecked the house for no reason at all.
Unit 3. Word list. Admonish.
Khiển trách.
To admonish someone is to tell them you disapprove of their behavior.
The teacher admonished Mark because he was chewing gum in class.
Audible. Someone is to tell them you disapprove of their behavior.
The teacher admonished Mark because he was chewing gum in class.
Audible.
Nghe rõ.
If something is audible, then it is able to be heard.
The sound of the drums was audible from miles away.
Awesome.
Đáng kinh sợ.
If something or someone is awesome, they are impressive or frightening.
The huge military plane was an awesome sight.
Beware.
Cẩn thận.
To beware means to be careful of something or someone that is dangerous.
You should beware of driving fast on wet roads.
Brag.
Khoe khoang.
To brag means to talk of one's abilities or achievements in a proud way.
He had strong muscles and bragged about it to the entire class.
Conscious.
Biết rõ, thấy rõ.
If someone is conscious of something, then they are aware of it.
The new student was conscious of the other students staring at her.
Disagree.
Không đồng ý.
To disagree with someone means to have a different opinion from them.
The lawyers disagreed about the best way to settle the case.
Echo.
Vang lại.
To echo means that a sound repeats itself because it bounced off an object.
The child yelled over the canyon, and the wall echoed the sound.
Eventual.
Cuối cùng.
If something is eventual, it will happen at the end of a series of events.
The constant training and planning led the team to an eventual victory.
Hint.
Lời gợi ý.
A hint is information that suggests something will happen or is true.
I quietly passed on a hint to my sister about the test.
Idiot.
Thằng ngốc.
An idiot is a person who is not smart or who has done something silly.
Because he got lost in the forest, the man felt like an idiot.
Immense. If something is immense, it is very large.
An immense amount of money was needed to buy such a large boat.
Lớn, nhiều.
Indirect.
Gián tiếp.
If something is indirect, then it is not the easiest or straightest way.
He chose to take the most indirect route to the coast.
Option.
Lựa chọn.
An option is a choice between two or more things.
The children were given the option of 3 houses to pick from.
Pastime.
Cho giải trí.
A pastime is an activity done for fun that you do often.
In the U.S., baseball is considered the national pastime.
Perfect.
Hoàn hảo.
If something is perfect, then it is without any mistakes.
She got all the questions right, so her score was perfect.
Pinpoint.
Định vị.
To pinpoint something means to locate it exactly.
The navigation system in my car is able to pinpoint my exact location.
Switch.
Chuyển.
To switch means to change something to something else.
Mom switched the TV station from the news to her favorite show.
Thorough.
Hoàn toàn.
If something or someone is thorough, then they are complete in every way.
Tina did a thorough job of cleaning the stains out of the carpet.
Torment.
Làm đau khổ.
To torment someone means to cause them to suffer on purpose.
She tormented her little brother by taking his favorite toy.
4. Word list. Beak.
Mỏ chim.
A beak is the hard, curved part of a bird's mouth.
The bird used her beak to dig a small hole in the ground.
Damp.
Ẩm ướt.
If something is damp, it is somewhat wet.
My hair is still damp from my shower.
Disapprove.
Phản đối.
To disapprove of something is to think that it is wrong.
Alex disapproved of his son's behavior.
Accept.
Ngoại trừ.
You use except to talk about the only thing that a statement does not apply to.
Everyone had fun on the trip except Jim, who felt ill the whole time.
Flight.
Chuyến bay.
A flight is an act of flying, often in an airplane.
The airplane made a flight around the world.
Fond.
Ưa thích.
When someone is fond of something, they like it.
I am very fond of chocolate cake.
Immoral.
Đồi bại.
When something or someone is immoral, they are evil or do bad things.
Stealing money from one's mother is an immoral act.
Ivy.
Dây.
Ivy is a plant with long vines that grows upward, typically on walls.
The walls of the castle are covered with ivy.
Dây leo trên tường.
Moan.
Rên rỉ.
To moan is to make a low sound when feeling pain or sadness.
The sick man moaned from his bed.
Oblivious.
Không chú ý đến.
If someone is oblivious of something, they are unaware of it.
I was late to school because I was oblivious of the time.
Perish.
Bỏ mạng.
To perish means to die, usually because of bad conditions or a bad events.
Many people perish in wars.
Pit.
Hố.
A pit is a big hole in the ground.
Michael fell into the pit and needed some help to get out.
Rim.
Vành.
The rim is the outside edge of a round thing, like a cup or bottle.
I put my lips to the rim of the bottle and took a drink.
Roost.
Chuồng chim.
A roost is a place where birds can land and rest or sleep.
The family of doves made a roost at the top of the tree.
Slippery.
Trơn.
If something is slippery, it is wet or smooth and causes people to slip.
The repairman fell down on the floor because it was too slippery.
Soar.
Bay lượn.
To soar means to fly high in the air.
As the sun rose, two eagles soared through the sky.
Trivial.
Bình thường.
If something is trivial, it is not important or meaningful.
Television is trivial, but learning to read is very important.
Typical.
Tiêu biểu.
If something is typical, it is normal for a certain type of thing.
Barking is typical behavior for dogs.
Utterly.
Hoàn toàn.
If something is utterly away, it is completely that way.
When the sun was blocked by the moon, it was utterly dark outside.
Weep.
Khóc.
To weep means to cry.
My sister told me the dramatic movie would make me weep.
A while.
Một lát.
If you do something a while, you do it for a short time.
Wait here a while, and I'll bring some tea.
Cyberspace.
Không gian ảo.
Cyberspace is the imaginary place of the internet where activities occur.
I didn't receive your email. It probably got lost in cyberspace.
Edit.
Sửa.
To edit means to correct a piece of writing so that it is suitable to be published.
She asked her brother to edit her paper before she submitted it to her teacher.
Essay.
Bài luận.
An essay is a short piece of writing on a certain subject.
She had to write a 2-page essay for her English class.
Evaluate.
Ít ước lượng.
To evaluate something means to study it so a decision can be made.
Joe and Ken evaluated the plan and agreed that it would work.
Faint.
Uể oải, lả
To
đi.
faint means to go unconscious and fall down.
Carol fainted because she hadn't eaten in over a day.
Global.
Toàn cầu.
If something is global, it happens all around the world.
Pollution is a global problem.
Gymnasium.
Phòng tập thể dục.
A gymnasium is a building with equipment that you can use to get exercise.
When I go to the gymnasium, I use the treadmill for 20 minutes.
Highlight.
Nhấn mạnh làm nổi bật.
To highlight something means to mark it with a color so that it is easy to see.
I read my vocabulary list and highlighted the most difficult words.
Ignorant.
Ngu dốt.
If someone is ignorant about something, they have no knowledge about it.
I'm a bit ignorant about his theories. Can you explain them to me?
Index.
Mục lục.
An index is a list of words at the end of a book that gives information.
If you look in the index, you'll find the right page number.
Lecture.
Bài diễn thuyết.
A lecture is a long educational speech.
His lecture on world hunger was very informative.
Moral.
Lời gian dạy.
A moral is a message at the end of a story that teaches you something.
At the end of the story, Mother explained the moral to the children.
Operate.
Hoạt động.
To operate means to work or function.
I'm sorry, but the trains are not operating today.
Hoặc là mổ trong y học.
Private.
Cá nhân, riêng tư.
If something is private, it is only used by one person or group.
Don't look at my diary. It's private.
Recent.
Gần đây.
When something is recent, it happened a short time ago.
I did not know what caused his recent behavior.
Resolution.
Quyết định.
A resolution is a personal decision.
At New Year, I made a list of resolutions to help me have a better year.
Semester.
Học kỳ.
A semester is a portion of a school year.
Jack is in his second semester of college.
Typewritten.
Được đánh máy.
If something is typewritten, it is written on a computer or typewriter.
This is an important formal project and must be typewritten.
Weird.
Kỳ quặc.
When something is weird, it is very strange.
My best friend's dad is a bit weird.
6. Word list. Absolute.
Hoàn toàn.
If something is absolute, it is total or complete.
My presentation was an absolute disaster. It was terrible.
Alas.
Ôi chao.
Alas is a word that people say when something bad happens.
I looked everywhere for my purse, but alas, I couldn't find it.
Attentive.
Chú ý lưu tâm.
If you are attentive, you are careful and you pay attention.
He is a good student because he is attentive to every detail on his work.
Cape.
Áo choàng.
A cape is a large cloth that covers one's back and is tied around the neck.
The superhero wore a long red cape.
Envision.
Hình dung.
To envision something means to imagine that it may happen.
I can envision my mom's face when I give her this present.
Evenly.
Bằng nhau, đều.
When something happens evenly, it happens at the same rate or level.
The food was handed out evenly among the hungry people.
Folk.
Người quen.
Folk are common or average people.
I've invited all the folks from our street to a gathering at my place.
Melt.
Tan chảy.
To melt means to turn from a solid to a liquid.
The snowman that we made yesterday melted in the sun.
Patch.
Màn, vết, đốm.
A patch is a part of a surface that is different in appearance from the rest.
There was one small patch of grass in the sand-covered desert.
Pleasure.
Niềm vui.
Pleasure is a feeling of happiness.
The student smiled with pleasure when she received the prize.
Pop.
Nổ lốp bốp.
A pop is a short, loud sound.
I heard a loud pop. Then my computer screen shattered.
Tiếng nổ lốp bốp.
Pudding.
Bánh pudding.
A pudding is a sweet dessert.
Would you like some chocolate pudding and coffee for dessert?
Rail.
Hàng rào, đường ray.
A rail is a horizontal bar made of metal or wood.
The cat was sitting on the rail of the fence.
Recipe.
Công thức.
A recipe is a set of instructions to make food.
The apple cake that you made is really tasty. Can I have the recipe, please?
Role.
Vai trò.
A role is the normal purpose or function of a person or thing.
My role at work is to check the quality of the products. Shrink.
Co lại.
Shrink.
Soak.
Ngâm.
To soak something means to make it very wet.
You need to soak these beans overnight before you cook them.
Spark.
Tia lửa.
A spark is a small, quick flash of fire.
As he welded the two pieces of metal together, sparks flew everywhere.
Spirit.
Tinh thần.
A spirit is someone's feelings and personality, but not a physical body part.
He has a very outgoing spirit. He can make friends with anyone.
Suit.
Bộ com lê.
A suit is a set of clothes. It usually includes a jacket with pants or a skirt.
I wore my new suit on my date with Melissa.
Unit 7. Word list. Account.
Tài khoản.
An account with a bank is an arrangement to keep one's money there.
After I paid for the new car, my bank account was nearly empty.
Architect.
Kiến trúc sư.
An architect is a person who designs buildings.
The plans for building the new home were drawn by a famous architect.
Conceal.
Giấu giếm.
To conceal something means to hide it.
You should conceal your money so no one can take it from you.
Crime.
Tội phạm, tội ác.
A crime is something bad that a person does that can be punished by law.
Police quickly arrived at the scene of the crime.
Deed.
Chứng nhận biên bản.
A deed is a certificate that proves that someone owns something.
When she bought the car, she was given a deed to show the car was hers.
Gratitude.
Lòng biết ơn.
Gratitude is a feeling of being thankful.
The kids showed Aunt Taz much gratitude for visiting them.
Habitat.
Môi trường sống.
A habitat is the natural home of animals or plants.
Frogs are often found in a wet habitat, such as near a lake, river, or pond.
Intervene.
Can thiệp.
To intervene means to help stop a problem between two people or groups.
The students argued until the teacher intervened.
Landmark.
Mốc bước ngoặt.
A landmark is an object that helps people find or remember a location.
The tall tree was used as a landmark for people to find the road to the inn.
Legal.
Hợp pháp.
If something is legal, it is related to the law or allowed by the law.
It was not legal for him to drive until he was 18 years old.
Memorable.
Đáng nhớ.
If something is memorable, then it is remembered for a special reason.
The party was memorable. People were still talking about it years later.
Oblige.
Bắt buộc.
To oblige someone means to require them to do something.
If I wanted to have playtime, I was obliged to clean my room once a week.
Offense.
Sự phạm tội.
An offense is an action that breaks the law and requires punishment.
He was put in jail for 2 days for the offense.
Proclaim.
Tuyên bố.
To proclaim something means to say it in public.
The Army general proclaimed that the war was won.
Rally.
Sự tập hợp.
A rally is a large public meeting in order to support something.
The school had a rally in the gym to support the basketball team.
Resolve.
Giải quyết, phân tích.
To resolve something means to find a solution.
She resolved the problem with her children by giving them both a toy.
Resource.
Tài nguyên. Nguồn tài
Resources
chính.
are a person or country's money and materials that they can use.
The poor man didn't have the resources to feed himself.
Sentence.
Câu, sự tuyên
A
án.
sentence is punishment given to someone who didn't follow the law.
The sentence for stealing a car is much worse than for stealing candy.
Volunteer.
Tình nguyện.
To volunteer means to offer to do something for free.
Many people volunteer to help the adults learn to read.
Witness.
Người làm chứng.
A witness is someone who sees or hears a crime or accident happen.
The woman was the only witness of the horrible crime.
Unit 8. Word list. Access.
Truy cập.
Access is the right to enter or use something.
The manager was the only person with access to the password.
Conduct.
Cách cư xử, đạo đức.
Conduct is the way that someone acts.
She was punished for her bad conduct.
Constant.
Không ngừng, không đổi.
When an event or action is constant, it happens a lot or all the time.
The television at home is in constant use.
Crack.
Vết nứt.
A crack is a narrow space between the parts of something broken.
The old window was covered with cracks.
Device.
Thiết bị.
A device is an object or a machine.
A thermometer is a device that tells temperature.
Enclose.
Vây quanh, chứa đựng.
To enclose something is to contain it.
The cows in the field were enclosed by a fence.
Grip.
Nắm chặt.
To grip something is to hold it very tightly.
I was scared, so I gripped my older sister's hand.
Halt.
Dừng lại.
To halt is to stop moving.
The criminal halted when he saw the police coming.
Impending.
Sắp xảy đến.
If something is impending, it is going to happen soon.
The student was nervous about his impending test.
Influence.
Ảnh hưởng.
To influence someone or something is to have an effect over them.
My friend influenced my decision to attend Terrence University.
Law.
Pháp luật.
A law is a rule made by the legislative body.
The students learned about different laws during social studies class.
Mode.
Chế độ.
A mode is a setting or condition on a machine.
Mother turned the TV to quiet mode while she talked on the phone.
Perspire.
Đổ mồ hôi.
To perspire means to sweat.
I usually perspire a lot when I'm at practice.
Replace.
Thay thế.
To replace something is to put it in the place of something else.
I replaced the tire on my car because it was flat.
Snap.
Bẻ.
To snap something means to break it suddenly, which causes a loud noise.
I took the stick and snapped it with my hands.
Sly.
Danh mãnh.
If a person or animal is sly, they are sneaky or good at tricking people.
The sly fox stole the eggs from the nest.
Tend.
Có khuynh hướng.
To tend to do something is to be likely to do it or to do it often.
My mom tends to buy me the perfect gift each Christmas.
Valid.
Có căn cứ, hợp lệ.
When something is valid, it is correct or based on good reasoning.
The expert's opinion on the subject was more valid than others.
Version.
Phiên bản.
A version is an account of something that differs slightly from the original.
She read the student's British version of the Chinese fairy tale.
Whatsoever.
Bất cứ cái gì.
You use whatsoever after a noun to emphasize that there is nothing of that thing.
The boy had no idea whatsoever how to solve the story problem.
Word list. Alongside.
Cùng, dọc theo.
If something is alongside another thing, then it is next to it.
We work alongside each other in the office.
Appetite.
Sự thèm ăn.
Your appetite is your hunger for food.
Tom has a big appetite. He eats all the time.
Assist.
Giúp đỡ.
To assist someone is to help them.
Andrew assisted me with my homework.
Breeze.
Cơn gió nhẹ.
A breeze is a soft wind.
The breeze caused the leaves to fall off the tree.
Defy.
Coi thường.
To defy someone is to work against them or refuse to do what they say.
The students got into trouble for defying their teacher's rules.
Display.
Trưng bày.
To display something is to show it, especially by putting it in a certain place.
The museum displayed many wonderful paintings.
Efficient.
Có hiệu quả.
If something or someone is efficient, they do not waste energy.
My car is very efficient. I rarely have to buy gas.
Feeble.
Yếu, nhu nhược.
If someone is feeble, they are small or weak.
The boy was too feeble to carry the object very far.
Forgive.
Tha thứ.
To forgive someone is to stop being angry with them.
Sandra forgave Peter after he said he was sorry.
Lively.
Đầy sức sống.
If someone is lively, they have a lot of energy.
Jennifer is very lively. She's always running and playing.
Majestic.
Oai vệ.
If something is
Dương vệ.
majestic, it is large and beautiful.
The rich people lived in a big, majestic house.
Nor.
Không và cũng không.
You use nor to connect two negative ideas.
Cả hai đều không.
I eat neither apples nor oranges. I don't like either one.
Outraged.
Tức giận.
If someone is outraged, they are very angry.
My father was outraged when he saw that I'd crashed his car.
Pessimistic.
Bi quan.
If someone is pessimistic, they believe that the worst will happen.
John is pessimistic. He always thinks something bad will happen.
Rumor. Tin đồn.
A rumor is something people talk about even though it may not be true.
Kevin was spreading rumors about Marcia to everyone.
Slap.
Tát.
To slap someone means to hit them with the palm of the hand.
Out of anger, Helen slapped Eunice on the face.
Smash.
Phá đập.
To smash something is to break it into many small pieces.
Jacob smashed the window with a rock.
Subject.
Môn học.
A subject is the topic that is being discussed or taught.
The subject of Marco's speech was the economy.
Wage.
Tiền lương, tiền công.
A wage is the money that a person gets for doing a job.
The wages I receive from my job are really great.
Whereas.
Nhưng trái lại.
You use whereas to show how two things are different.
My sister loves horror movies, whereas I prefer comedies.
Animate.
Có sức sống.
When something is animate, it has life.
Rocks and machines are not animate things.
Classify.
Phân loại.
To classify things is to put them into groups based on their type.
The biologist classified the plant as a completely new species.
Concede.
Thừa nhận.
To concede is to admit that something is true against your wish.
The student conceded that he had cheated on the test.
Concept.
Khái niệm.
A concept is an idea about something.
I learned some concepts of molecules before working in the science lab.
Construct.
Xây dựng.
To construct something means to make or build it.
The men used wood and metal to construct a house.
Decade.
Thập kỷ.
A decade is a period of 10 years.
She celebrated her 3 decades of work with the company.
Diagram.
Biểu đồ.
A diagram is a simple drawing that explains what something is or how it works.
By following the diagram, I was able to put the desk together.
Ferry.
Cái phà.
A ferry is a boat that carries passengers over short distances.
The ferry took the people across the lake.
Handy.
Thuận tiện.
If something is handy, it is useful.
An eraser is handy if you make a lot of mistakes.
Isolate.
Tách ra.
To
cô lập.
isolate is to separate one person or thing from a group.
The teacher isolated the bad child from the class before talking with her.
Longing.
Ao ước mong đợi.
A longing is a strong feeling of wanting.
Since he skipped breakfast, he had a longing for food all morning.
Numerous.
Đông đảo. Nhiều.
If something is numerous, there are many of those things.
It was hard to drive fast since there were numerous holes in the road.
Particle.
Hạt bụi.
A particle is a very small piece of something.
The bottles of wine were covered in a layer of dust particles.
Plea.
Tránh.
A plea is a request
cầu.
that is urgent or emotional.
The poor hungry man made a plea for food.
Refrain.
Tránh cố nín.
To refrain from something is to avoid doing it.
The doctor asked Mary to refrain from eating fast food as part of her diet.
Review.
Đánh giá.
A review of something is a formal inspection of it by people in authority.
The government ordered a careful review of the economic situation.
Sophisticated.
Tinh vi.
If someone is sophisticated, they know many things about the world.
Jake is one of the most sophisticated persons I've ever met.
Surrender.
Giao nộp.
To surrender something is to give it up.
The thief surrendered the money to the police when he was caught.
Thẳng
Upright.
đứng.
If something is upright, it is standing up straight.
Meerkats can't walk like humans, but they can stand upright.
Worthwhile.
Đánh giá.
If something is worthwhile, it is important or useful.
On his visit to Canada, he realized studying English was worthwhile.
Unit 11. Word list. Alliance.
Liên minh.
An alliance is a group of people who work together.
The junior executives formed an alliance with each other.
Applause.
Sự tán dương. Sự tán thành.
Applause is the noise made when people clap hands to show approval.
At the end of his speech, everyone gave applause.
Armed.
Vũ trang.
If you are armed, you are carrying a weapon.
The robber was armed with a gun.
Authoritative.
Tường tận.
If something is authoritative, it uses the best information available.
This book is an authoritative source on ancient Egypt's Queen Nefertiti.
Buổi
Ceremony.
lễ.
A ceremony is an event that happens on special occasions.
Sự khách sáo.
Tom and Amy's marriage ceremony is in June.
Culture.
Văn hóa.
Culture is the music, art, and writings of a certain place or group of people.
Ancient Mexican culture is renowned for its architecture.
Defense.
Phòng thủ.
A defense is something that is done to protect another thing.
The Air Force works in defense of its country.
Detail.
Chi tiết.
A detail is a small piece of information.
Jane told Ben all the details of her trip to China.
Diverse.
Đông đảo.
When a group of things is diverse, it is made up of a wide variety of things.
Big cities have diverse populations with people of different races and ages.
Enchant.
Mê hoặc.
To enchant someone is to make them feel very interested or happy.
The beautiful woman enchanted everybody in the room.
Equip.
Trang bị.
To equip someone is to give them the things needed to do something.
Steve was equipped with the tools needed to do the job.
Exception.
Ngoại lệ.
An exception is someone or something not conforming to a rule.
Most students thought the test was hard, but Tim was the exception.
Genre.
Thể loại.
A genre is a type of literature, art, or music characterized by its style.
She is considered a master in the comedy genre.
Impact.
Ảnh hưởng, tác động.
An impact is the effect someone or something has on another.
My grandmother had a great impact on my life.
Lure.
Quyến rũ.
To lure someone is to convince them to do something by using a trick.
The store lures people in with big signs that say sale.
Obstacle.
Sự trở ngại.
An obstacle is an object or a problem that stops you from doing something.
Chướng ngại vật.
Climbing over the giant rock was the biggest obstacle for the hikers.
Shelter.
Cái chòi, chỗ trú ẩn.
A shelter is a place to go that is safe from danger or bad weather.
The frog took shelter from the storm in a nearby cave.
Sort.
Sắp xếp.
To sort means to separate things into different groups or classes.
He sorted his clothes by colors and sizes.
Supply.
Cung cấp.
To supply something means to give people what they need or want.
The water heater supplied the house with warm water.
Vain.
Viển vông, vô ích.
If people are vain, they are only concerned with how they look.
Rebecca is so vain that she looks at herself in every mirror.
How a singer helped win the war. Unit 12. Word list. Alternative.
Sự lựa chọn, thay thế.
An alternative is something that you can choose instead of your first choice.
Her first plan to make extra money seemed weak, so she chose an alternative.
Avenue.
Đại lộ.
An avenue is a road, often a large one with buildings on each side.
Drive down this avenue and then turn left to go to the park.
Belly.
Bụng.
The belly is the stomach of a person or animal.
His belly was full because he ate a lot of food.
Bid.
Sự cố gắng.
A bid to do something is an attempt to do it.
He made a bid to become the university's next president.
Blow.
Thổi.
To blow means to move air or move something through the air, as in the wind.
The wind is blowing very hard today. We should stay inside.
Conflict.
Cuộc xung đột.
A conflict is a fight between different people or groups.
The two nations had a conflict over which one could use the water in the river.
Continent.
Lục địa.
A continent is one of the 7 large areas of land on the earth.
Asia is the largest continent.
Current.
Dòng.
A current is a steady and constant flow of air or water in a river or ocean.
The ocean currents took the ship far off into the sea.
Disrespect.
Thiếu thốn.
Disrespect is rudeness or a behavior that shows a lack of respect.
Thiếu tôn trọng, vô lễ.
He showed disrespect by arguing with his boss during a meeting.
Enthusiasm.
Nhiệt tình.
Enthusiasm is a very strong, good feeling about something.
The crowd showed their enthusiasm for the soccer team by cheering loudly.
Harsh.
Khắc nghiệt.
When something is harsh, it is very unpleasant.
The desert can be a very harsh environment.
Lean.
Nghiêng ngả
To
người.
lean is to bend the body in a particular direction.
The woman leaned against the counter because she was tired.
Meantime.
Cùng lúc đó.
The meantime is the time between two events.
Ted began setting the table. In the meantime, I began preparing the food.
Cho
Mischief.
nghịch.
Mischief is behavior that is meant to trick or cause trouble for people.
Ben was up to mischief when he persuaded Ken to paint his face.
Muscle.
Cơ bắp.
Muscle is a mass of tissue attached to bone that helps you move.
She went to the gym in order to make her muscles stronger.
Rescue.
Cứu.
To rescue someone means to remove them from danger.
The firefighter rescued the man from the burning building.
Succession.
Sự
A
nối tiếp.
succession is a number of things that follow one after the other.
The student said the letters of the alphabet in succession.
Terrain.
Địa hình.
The terrain is the land and all of its physical features or parts.
The terrain below was rocky and full of hills.
Timid.
Nhút nhát.
If someone is timid, they are afraid, shy, or nervous.
The timid child hides behind her mother whenever she sees a stranger.
Bạo
Violence.
lực.
Violence is forceful action that is meant to injure or kill people.
The boy hit his brother in an act of violence. The sun and the north wind. The sun and the north wind were talking to...
Word list. Affect.
Ảnh hưởng.
To affect someone or something is to have an influence over them.
The student's poor attitude affected the other students in the class.
Autograph.
Chữ ký.
An autograph is the written name of a famous person.
Everybody wanted the movie star's autograph.
Bead.
Giọt. Hạt.
A bead is a drop of liquid.
Beads of water collected outside the class.
Brew.
Pha.
To brew coffee or tea means to pour hot water over it.
Please brew a fresh pot of coffee.
Charm.
Mê hoặc.
To charm someone is to please them with your personality.
Gail charmed everyone with her humorous stories.
Destiny.
Số phận. Vận mệnh.
A destiny is all the things that happen or will happen to a person in their life.
It was his destiny to become a great singer.
Horn.
Cái còi.
A horn is a device that makes a loud noise.
The boy honked his horn while he rode his bicycle past the house.
Irritable.
Cáu kỉnh.
When someone is irritable, they become annoyed or angry very easily.
She is irritable when she doesn't get enough sleep.
Lag.
Tụt lại phía sau.
To lag behind is to move slowly behind other moving objects.
The girl on rollerblades lagged behind the little girl on the bicycle.
Maximize. To maximize something means to make it biggest in size or amount.
Businesses try to maximize their profits.
Nightmare.
Cơn ác mộng.
A nightmare is a bad or scary dream.
The girl was scared to go back to sleep because she had a nightmare.
Nutritious.
Có chất bổ.
When something is nutritious, it helps the body stay healthy.
Mangoes are one of the most nutritious fruits in the world.
Protein.
Chất đạm.
Protein is a substance that is necessary for the body to grow and be strong.
Fish and beef are good sources of protein.
Chữ
Signature.
ký.
A signature is your name that you have written in your own way.
I put my signature at the end of the letter.
Stuff. Stuff is a word used to refer to things without mentioning the things by name.
We gave a lot of stuff to the charity.
Subconscious. When something is subconscious, it is done without thinking about it.
Tiềm thức.
Breathing is one of the subconscious things that the body does.
Van.
Xe tải.
A van is a vehicle that is used for carrying things but is smaller than a truck.
The delivery company uses large vans to deliver packages.
Warn.
Cảnh báo.
To warn someone is to make them know of possible danger in the future.
The lifeguard warned people to stay away from the rough ocean.
Workout.
Tập thể dục.
A workout is an exercise routine that helps improve health.
She doesn't do her workout on the weekends.
Zoom.
Di chuyển nhanh.
To zoom is to move quickly.
The cars zoomed along the road.
The big race.
Hơi.
Unit 14. Word list. Brick.
Gạch.
A brick is a block of hard clay that is used for building things, such as walls.
There were several bricks scattered on the ground.
Crumble.
Vỡ vụn.
To crumble means to break or fall apart into small pieces.
The old house's walls crumbled into a pile of rock and wood.
Dough.
Bột.
Dough is a mixture of flour and water that becomes bread when baked.
I made heart-shaped cookies from the dough.
Express.
Thể hiện.
To express a feeling or idea means to show others how one thinks or feels.
The nurse expressed her sympathy for the sick patient.
Fist.
Quả đấm.
A fist is a hand with fingers bent in toward the palm.
The bully made a fist and threatened to hit the small boy.
Flexible.
Dẻo, dễ uốn.
If something is flexible, then it can bend easily without breaking.
The tree branch was so flexible it could be bent into a circle and not break.
Flush.
Làm bừng sáng.
To flush means the face becomes red due to heat, illness, or emotion.
After the long race, the runner's face was flushed.
Injure.
Làm bị thương.
To injure someone means to damage a part of their body.
The car crash injured 2 people.
Lump.
Cục, tảng.
A lump is a small piece of something that is solid.
The artist took a lump of clay and turned it into a beautiful pot.
Hỗn
Mixture.
hợp.
A mixture is something that is made by mixing other things together.
The walls were built using a mixture of water, rock, and dirt.
Reconcile.
Giảng hòa.
To reconcile means to return to a friendly relationship.
After arguing, the 2 friends were reconciled with each other.
Ruin.
Làm đổ nát.
To ruin something means to harm or damage it greatly.
Our walk in the park was ruined by the sudden rain.
Shatter.
Vỡ.
To shatter something means to break it suddenly into many tiny pieces.
When the ball hit the window, the glass shattered.
Shutter.
Chớp.
Shutters are wooden or metal covers in front of a window.
Mr. Smith closed the shutters every night to make his bedroom dark.
Sift.
Sàng.
To sift something means to remove all the large pieces.
The baker sifted the flour into a large bowl.
Slight.
Nhỏ.
If something is slight, then it is small or minor.
Không đáng kể.
There was only a slight change in the little boy's height.
Sparkle.
Lấp lánh.
To sparkle means to shine brightly with quick flashes of light.
The stars sparkled in the winter night sky.
Sprinkle.
Rải rác.
To sprinkle means to scatter something all over something else.
He sprinkled the pasta with salt and black pepper.
Stale.
Ôi, thiêu.
If food is stale, then it is not fresh, but dry, hard, and not good to eat.
The cookies sat on the table so long that they became stale.
Utter.
Thốt ra.
To utter a word or a sound means to say it.
The lost boy was so scared that he could barely utter a single word. The brothers and the...
Word list. Although.
Mặc dù.
You use although to say that one thing is contrasted by another.
Although she was late, her friends gave her a warm welcome.
Apply.
Gắn.
To apply something means to put it on.
She always applies makeup to her face before going outside.
Await.
Chờ đợi.
To await something means to wait for it.
The players awaited the judge's decision.
Beloved.
Được yêu mến.
When something is beloved, it is very special and you like it very much.
The boy took a nap next to his beloved cat.
Chôn.
Bury.
Chôn
To
cất.
bury someone or something means to put them in the ground.
They buried their grandfather under his favorite tree after he died.
Climate.
Khí hậu.
A climate is the usual weather in a place.
The climate in the desert is very hot.
Complain.
phàn nàn,
When you complain, you say that you are unhappy about something.
The workers complained that they were being treated unfairly.
Confuse.
gây xáo trộn,
To confuse someone means to make them feel like they are unsure.
The sign confused the traveler because it pointed in two directions.
Due. When something is due, it is expected to happen or be done at that time.
phải đến,
The papers were due on the 19th.
Entire.
toàn thể,
When you talk about an entire thing, you are talking about the whole thing.
toàn bộ,
He was so hungry that he ate the entire pizza by himself.
Establish.
lập, tạo,
To establish something means to create it.
He wanted to establish a club for people to help the earth.
Furnace.
cái lò,
A furnace is a place where heat is made.
Mr. Jones came to fix the furnace.
Leash.
dây xích,
A leash is a rope or chain that is used to lead an animal.
A lot of dogs must wear a leash to keep them from running away.
Mature.
trưởng thành,
To mature means to grow up to become an adult.
When they matured, they became as tall as their parents.
Measure.
đo,
To measure something means to find out the quality, value, or effect of it.
The scientists carefully measured the amount of chemicals in the tubes.
Midst.
giữa,
The midst of something is the middle of it.
She was in the midst of cleaning when the telephone rang.
Misery.
cảnh đau khổ,
Misery is extreme suffering.
There was a lot of misery after Sam lost his dog.
Prior.
trước,
When something happened prior to something else, it happened earlier.
Ron had to wait since he arrived prior to the scheduled meeting time.
Research.
nghiên cứu,
Research is close and careful study to discover new things.
Scientists did a lot of research on the subject of blood type.
Variety.
đa dạng,
A variety of something is a group of many different kinds of it.
There are a variety of flowers at the shop.
Altogether.
hoàn toàn,
If something happens altogether, it happens completely.
The company stopped using sugar altogether in its food.
Bind.
ràng buộc,
To bind is to bring people together.
The victims of the flood were bound by their need to help each other.
Bruise.
vết thâm tím,
A bruise is a dark mark caused by being hit by something.
She got a bruise on her knee from falling down.
Custom.
phong tục,
A custom is a way of doing things that has been the same for a long time.
It is a custom that the bride and groom have the first dance.
Disobedient.
không nghe lời,
When someone is disobedient, they do not follow the rules or instructions.
The disobedient children didn't listen to their mother and had an accident.
Foresee.
đoán trước được,
To foresee something is to know about it before it happens.
The teacher didn't foresee any problems with her large class.
Glimpse.
nhìn lướt qua,
To glimpse something is to see it for a short time.
She glimpsed outside the window as the plane was about to land.
Hoop.
cái vành,
A hoop is a ring that is made of plastic, metal, or wood.
The boy tried to toss the ball through the basketball hoop.
Misfortune.
điều không may,
Misfortune is bad luck or an unlucky event.
His family helped him when he encountered misfortune.
Negative.
phản đối,
When something is negative, it is unpleasant or sad.
tiêu cực,
She doesn't like to say negative things about her friends.
Per.
mỗi,
Per is used to mean each when giving a price, size, or amount.
It costs $8 per person to watch the baseball game.
Plead.
cầu xin,
To plead is to ask for something you want very badly.
He pleaded for his parents to let him go to the soccer game.
Rip.
Xé toạc.
To rip something means to pull it apart.
She ripped the paper in half by accident.
Sake.
Lợi ích.
The sake of something is the reason for doing it.
The parents worked hard for their children's sake.
Scrape.
Chà sát.
To scrape something is to rub it very hard with something sharp.
Quẹt.
I accidentally scraped the paint off the side of the car.
Source.
Nguồn.
A source of something is the place that it comes from.
The river was the source of drinking water for the village.
Stern.
Nghiêm nghị.
When somebody is stern, they are very serious.
The stern teacher didn't allow the students to speak during class.
Stitch.
Khâu.
To stitch is to use a needle and thread to join pieces of cloth together.
The grandmother stitched the pieces together to make a big blanket.
Thump.
Tiếng đập mạnh.
A thump is the sound of a heavy object falling.
They heard the thump when the bowling ball hit the floor.
Vehement.
Kịch liệt.
When somebody is vehement, they are angry and emotional.
Gina was vehement when she found out that Liz was bad in school.
Unit 17. Word list. Civilization.
Nền văn minh.
A civilization is an organized group of humans that have culture and government.
Most early civilizations in Central America didn't use metal weapons.
Convenient.
Tiện lợi.
When something is convenient, it is easy to do and does not take a lot of work.
The bus is a convenient way to get to school.
Den.
Hang.
A den is a living space for some types of animals, such as lions.
The mother lion left her babies in the den.
Dew.
Sương.
Dew is the drops of water that form on the ground outside during the night.
When we woke up, we saw that the grass was covered in dew.
Drastic.
Mạnh mẽ.
When something is drastic, it is extreme or major.
She made a drastic decision to get her long hair cut short.
Exit.
Rời khỏi.
To exit means to leave.
The students exited through the front door.
Flock.
Đàn. Bầy.
A flock is a group of animals, such as birds, sheep, or goats.
There was one black sheep in the entire flock.
Fold.
Gấp.
To fold is to bend something like paper or cloth so that it takes up less space.
I folded the paper and put it in my pocket.
Lid. Cái nắp.
A lid is a top for a box or container that can be removed.
He lifted the lid of the box and revealed her present.
Loom.
Hiện ra lờ mờ.
To loom is to seem very large and often scary.
The ominous clouds loomed over the school.
Mighty.
Đồ sộ.
When something is mighty, it is strong and large.
The mighty wrestler scared all who faced him.
Mushroom.
Cây nấm.
A mushroom is a fungus with a round top. Some are used as food.
The soup had fresh mushrooms in it.
Native.
Địa phương.
When something is native, it is originating in a certain place or area.
Avocados are native fruits of Mexico.
Poison.
Chất độc.
Poison is a dangerous substance that causes illness or death.
They used poison to get rid of the rats in their home.
Reed.
Cây sậy.
Reeds are tall and skinny plants that grow in groups near water.
The sun set behind the reeds of the lake shore.
Shield.
Che.
To shield something is to protect it.
She shielded her eyes from the sun with sunglasses.
Stormy.
Bão.
Stormy describes something affected or characterized by storms.
The golfers decided to go home because of the stormy weather.
Sway.
Đu đưa.
To sway is to move slowly from side to side.
She swayed while she listened to the music.
Urban.
Đô thị.
When something is urban, it is related to the city.
Subways are an important form of urban transportation.
Wade.
Lội nước.
To wade is to walk in or pass through water.
The child waded in the water at the beach.
Accent.
Chất giọng.
An accent is a certain way of speaking that shows where a person is from.
The new teacher's accent was clearly a German one.
Barber.
Thợ cắt tóc.
A barber is a person whose job is to cut hair.
My hair is getting much too long. I'd better go to the barber shop.
Basement.
Nền móng. Tầng
A
hầm.
basement of a house or building is a room that is built underground.
They turned their basement into a game room.
Blank.
Trống rỗng.
When something is blank, it does not have anything on it.
She got a blank paper to draw on.
Blink.
Chớp mắt.
To blink means to shut the eyes and quickly open them again.
I blinked many times so that my eyes could adjust to the bright light.
Choir.
Đội hợp xướng.
A choir is a group of people who sing together.
He had choir practice every day after school.
Comic.
Hài.
When something is comic, it is funny.
The comic actor was famous for his jokes.
Complicate.
Làm phức tạp.
To complicate something means to make it harder than necessary.
The bad weather complicated finishing the job quickly.
Decline.
Từ chối.
To decline an offer or invitation means to say no to it.
She declined his offer to pay for her dinner.
Errand.
Việc vặt.
An errand is a trip taken to do a specific activity.
He couldn't go to practice because he had several errands to do.
Glove.
Găng tay.
A glove is a piece of clothing that covers your fingers and hand.
When it gets cold, I always put on a pair of gloves.
Hermit.
Tu sĩ.
A hermit is one who lives alone and does not spend time with others.
The hermit lived a simple life in a small cave in the forest.
Justly.
Công bằng.
If something is done justly, then it is fair.
We justly decided to give the prize to him.
Leather.
Đồ làm bằng da.
Leather is a material made from animal skin that is used to make clothing.
He got a new leather jacket for his birthday.
Ponder.
Cân nhắc.
To ponder something is to think about it carefully.
She sat in the park and pondered her problem.
Reserve.
Dành trước.
To reserve something means to keep it for a certain person or time.
He reserved a table at the busy restaurant.
Đặt trước.
Script.
Kịch bản.
A script is the words of a film or play.
He read the script of the play 3 times.
Search.
Tìm kiếm.
To search for something or someone means to look for them carefully.
I searched the newspaper for a new job.
Slam.
Đóng sầm.
To slam is to close something hard.
She slammed the book shut after she finished reading it.
Staircase.
Cầu thang.
A staircase is a set of stairs found inside a building.
The staircase leads directly into the kitchen. The school play.
Unit 19. Word list. Afflicted.
Làm khổ sở.
Afflicted means to suffer physically or mentally.
He was afflicted by pain in his right arm.
Aisle.
Lối đi.
An aisle is a space between two things that people use to walk.
They were told to clear the aisle because the plane was about to land.
Atmosphere.
Khí quyển.
The atmosphere is the air around the Earth where weather conditions form.
Scientists worry that harmful substances are hurting the atmosphere.
Author.
Khán tác giả.
An author is a person who wrote a certain piece of writing.
The author was hard at work on his next novel.
Breakdown.
Hỏng hóc.
A breakdown is a failure to work correctly.
Her car had a breakdown and she wasn't sure how to fix it.
Cargo.
Hàng hóa.
Cargo is the items carried by a ship or plane.
The cargo of the ship got wet when it started raining.
Chapter.
Chương.
A chapter is a part of a book that usually has a number or a title.
The first chapter of a book usually introduces the main character of a story.
Connect.
Kết nối.
To connect two things means to join them together.
I connected the mouse to my laptop computer.
Etc.
Vân vân.
ETC is short for etc. It is used to refer to other unspecified objects.
She was going to bring treats to the party. Cookies, muffins, cake, etc.
Flip.
Bật.
To flip means to press a switch quickly to turn it on or off.
To turn on the lights, just flip the switch.
Idle.
Để không.
If you are idle, you are not doing anything.
She read a book to keep from being idle.
Notify.
Thông báo.
To notify someone of something is to tell them about it.
The teacher notified us about a change to our assignment.
Pea.
Đậu Hà Lan.
Peas are a vegetable that is small, round, and green.
His favorite food was peas.
Raisin.
Nho khô.
A raisin is a dried grape.
Raisins are one of my favorite snacks.
Retain.
Vẫn giữ, vẫn duy
To
trì.
retain something is to keep it.
Even by the afternoon, the day had retained the morning's freshness.
State.
Phát biểu.
To state something means to say it in a definite way.
The president stated his opinion about the world's health concerns.
Tray.
Cái khay.
A tray is a flat plate used to hold food.
The waiter brought our food on a tray.
Unfortunate.
Không may.
If something is unfortunate, it is bad or unlucky.
It was unfortunate that Dave's team lost, but he still had fun.
Vivid.
Sặc sỡ.
When something is vivid, it is bright and colorful.
The figures in the painting were vivid.
Vomit.
Nôn, phun.
To vomit means to have food come up from one's stomach.
It is common for women to vomit when they are pregnant.
Isaac's first plane trip. Unit 20. Word list. Betray.
Phản bội.
To betray someone means to treat them in a dishonest way.
The man betrayed his country when he gave away national secrets.
Blast.
Nổ.
A blast is a loud noise made by something that explodes.
There was a loud blast when the police officer fired the gun.
Bracelet.
Vòng đeo tay.
A bracelet is a piece of jewelry that you wear around your wrist.
My father gave me a pretty gold bracelet for my birthday.
Cease.
Ngừng, tạnh.
To cease means to stop.
After about an hour, the rain ceased and a rainbow appeared.
Choke.
Ngạt thở.
To choke means to cough because you have difficulty breathing.
There was a lot of smoke in the air, and it made me choke.
Civil.
Công dân.
When an event is civil, it happens inside a country.
The country was torn apart by a terrible civil war.
Comment.
Bình luận.
To comment means to say something that shows your personal opinion.
Tom commented on the poor quality of the food.
Cross.
Đi ngang qua.
To cross means to go from one side to the other side.
We used his boat to cross to the other side of the lake.
Dent.
Vết lõm.
A dent is damage caused by something heavy hitting something else.
That blue car hit my car, and now there is a small dent in my car door.
Distrust. Không tin.
To distrust someone means to believe that they are not honest.
Don't lend money to someone if you distrust them.
Fort.
Pháo đài.
A fort is a small building that is specially built to defend an area from attack.
When the army arrived, they built a big fort on the top of the hill.
Found.
Thành lập, xây dựng.
To found means to bring something into existence.
The pastor founded his church in the countryside.
Lining.
Lớp vải.
Lining is a piece of cloth that covers the inside of clothes.
This jacket is very warm because it has a thick lining.
Mass.
Đống.
A mass is a large number of things of one type.
We received a mass of letters this morning.
Pray.
Cầu nguyện.
To pray means to talk to God.
When people go to church, they pray for their families and friends.
Rife.
Đầy rẫy.
If a place is rife with something bad, it is very common in that place.
Tràn lan.
This part of the country is rife with disease.
Sole.
Duy nhất.
When something is the sole thing, it is the only thing of a particular type.
His sole purpose in life was to help others.
Sweep.
Quét nhà.
If you sweep the floor, you clean it with a tool like a broom or a brush.
There is a lot of dirt on the floor. Can you sweep it, please?
Treachery.
Sự phản bội.
Treachery is a behavior in which a person betrays a country or a person.
The man ran away to escape from the treachery of his wife.
Tuck.
Đút.
To tuck something means to put it somewhere so that it is neat or safe.
He looked sloppy without his shirt being tucked into his pants.
Background.
Nền kiến thức.
A background is a person's education, family, and experience.
The new teacher had a background in science and math.
Bait.
Mồi, câu.
Bait is something used to trick a person or thing to do something.
The best bait for catching fish is a big fat worm.
Chronicle.
Ghi chép.
To chronicle something means to record an event or speech.
The daily newspaper chronicles local and world events.
Copper.
Đồng.
Copper is a red-brown metal often used in electric wire and pipes.
Ancient hunters melted copper to make knives and spears.
Disease.
Bệnh tật.
A disease is an illness that causes specific problems.
He had a disease that caused him to lose his hearing.
Folklore.
Văn học dân gian.
Folklore is the collection of beliefs and stories of a culture.
India's folklore has stories written in long poems about great warriors.
Infect.
Đầu độc.
To infect someone means to give them an illness.
The common cold infects hundreds of millions of people each year.
Itch.
Ngứa.
To itch means to rub the skin with your fingernails.
Gây ngứa.
The rough fabric in his shirt made the back of his neck itch.
Literature.
Tài liệu, văn học.
Literature is books, plays, and poetry.
Early American literature covers the poetry and stories from 1500 to 1800.
Millennium.
Nghìn năm.
A millennium is 1,000 years.
Stonehenge is believed to have been built about 5 millenniums ago.
Myth.
Thần thoại.
A myth is a traditional story that explains a culture's history and beliefs.
In Greece, there was a myth about a woman who had snakes for hair.
Promote.
Thăng chức.
To promote someone means to raise them to a higher position or rank.
After 2 years in the company, she was promoted to a manager.
Relate.
Có liên quan.
To relate to something means to have a connection with it.
A company's plan usually relates to how much profit it can make.
Religion.
Tôn giáo.
A religion is a belief in a god or gods.
Their religion taught that people should forgive their enemies.
Sum.
Tổng.
A sum is a specific amount of money.
He calculated the numbers to see what the sum of his bills would be.
Teller.
Giao dịch viên.
A teller is a person who works with a bank's customers.
The teller at the bank helped Kelly put money into a savings account.
Trustworthy.
Đáng tin cậy.
If someone is trustworthy, they are honest and truthful.
Mary is one of the most trustworthy people I've ever met.
Update.
Hiện đại hóa.
To update something means to make it more modern.
We need to update the programs on our computers.
Vein.
Tĩnh mạch. Gân.
A vein is a tube in the body that carries blood toward the heart.
The blue veins in my hand are just under my skin.
Venom.
Nọc độc.
Venom is a poisonous substance that comes from animals or plants.
A snake's venom can be used to cure the illnesses it creates.
Unit 22. Word list. Charity.
Từ thiện.
Charity is an act of giving help, usually money, to those who need it.
Thanks to his friend's charity, he had enough money to pay the rent.
Commerce.
Thương mại.
Commerce is the activity of buying and selling things.
The new shopping mall increased the commerce in that section of town.
Condemn.
Phạt.
To condemn someone means to give them a specific punishment.
The judge condemned the criminal to 5 years in prison.
Cozy.
Ấm cúng.
If something is cozy, then it is comfortable, warm, and relaxing.
The thick blanket made the bed very cozy.
Làm
Deplete.
cạn kiệt.
To deplete an amount of something means to use up all of it.
All the driving he was doing was depleting his car's fuel supply.
Economy.
Nền kinh tế.
An economy is the money and businesses of a country or region.
The factory was good for the economy because it brought jobs to the area.
Empire.
Đế chế.
An empire is a large group of countries ruled by an emperor or empress.
The emperor built roads to make travel easier throughout the empire.
Goods.
Hàng hóa.
Goods are anything that can be bought or sold.
Shoes, hats, dresses, and purses were the goods she wanted to buy.
Heed.
Lưu ý.
To heed something means to obey or follow it.
You should heed the advice on the sign and not drive so fast.
Hitchhike.
Đi nhờ xe.
To hitchhike means to travel by asking for rides from passing vehicles.
She didn't have a car, so she hitchhiked several miles to her brother's home.
Mock.
Chế giễu.
To mock someone means to tease them in a cruel way.
The girls mocked Nancy because she was a new student.
Neutral.
Trung lập.
If someone is neutral, then they do not help either of the two fighting sides.
The girl's friend remained neutral while the couple was arguing.
Persecute.
Hành hạ.
To persecute means to treat someone badly.
Dan felt persecuted because he was smaller than the other boys at school.
Pity.
Thương xót.
Pity is the feeling of sadness and kindness for those who are suffering.
Because she had pity for the lost boy, she helped him find his parents.
Giảm
Reduce.
bớt.
To reduce something means to make it less in size or number.
When the store reduced its prices, people wanted to shop there.
Scribe.
Người chép sử.
A scribe was a person whose job was to copy written works.
In ancient Egypt, scribes recorded important events.
Temper.
Tính khí.
A temper is someone's mood or a chance that they might get angry.
She has a temper. Even the slightest mistakes make her angry.
Throne.
Ngai vàng.
A throne is the special chair in which a ruler sits.
Nobody except the king and queen sat in the thrones in the Great Hall.
Unity.
Sự đoàn kết.
Unity is the state of people working together for a certain purpose.
The project was finished early, thanks to the unity of the workers.
Victor.
Người chiến thắng.
A victor is a group or person that wins in a contest.
At the end of the game, the blue team was the victor.
Unit 23. Word list. Accurate.
Chính xác.
If something is accurate, it is completely correct.
The story in the newspaper wasn't very accurate.
Analyze.
Phân tích.
To analyze something is to study it.
The scientist will analyze the blood sample.
Asteroid.
Hành tinh nhỏ.
An asteroid is a giant rock from outer space.
In 1908, a giant asteroid hit Siberia.
Controversy.
Tranh cãi.
A controversy is a dispute about something that affects many people.
There has been a lot of controversy over the judge's decision.
Evolve.
Tiến hóa.
To evolve is to change over time.
Many people think that humans evolved from animals.
Factor.
Nhân tố.
A factor is something that has an effect on the way another thing happens.
Smoking is the main factor that causes lung cancer.
Genetic.
Di truyền.
If something is genetic, it is related to the genes in one's body.
The color of one's eyes is genetic.
Genome.
Hệ gen.
A genome is the collection of all the genes in a living thing.
Understanding the human genome may help cure many diseases.
Identical.
Đồng nhất. Đúng.
To be identical is to be the same as someone or something else.
James and John are identical twins.
Intellectual.
Người tri thức.
An intellectual is a very smart person.
We've always considered my Uncle Max the intellectual of the family.
Majority.
Đa số.
A majority of something is almost all of the people or things in that group.
A majority of the people voted for Tom Smith in the election.
Mammal.
Động vật có vú.
A mammal is an animal that usually has hair and is not born from an egg.
Even though it lives in the water, whales are actually mammals.
Multiply.
Nhân lên.
To multiply is to increase in number.
In the past year, the number of people at work multiplied by 10%.
Offspring.
Con.
Offspring are the children of a person or the babies of an animal.
The dog's offspring had the same color of fur as she did.
Pesticide.
Thuốc trừ vật
A
gây hại.
pesticide is a substance used to kill insects.
The farmer sprayed his crops with a pesticide to keep bugs away.
Regulate.
Điều chỉnh.
To regulate something is to control how it happens.
The bank regulates how much money people can borrow from it.
Reinforce.
Củng cố.
To reinforce something is to make it stronger.
Peter reinforced his opinion with information from a book.
Stricken.
Bị ảnh hưởng bởi.
If one is stricken by a disease or problem, they are badly affected by it.
Mike was stricken with a horrible illness.
Vast.
To lớn.
If something is vast, it is very large.
The wealthy man bought a vast amount of land in the countryside.
Vegetarian.
Người ăn chay.
A vegetarian is someone who does not eat any meat products.
I became a vegetarian because I don't like the taste of meat.
Unit 24. Word list. Cherish. To cherish something means to hold it as very important.
Yêu quý.
I cherish this trophy I won.
Compassion.
Lòng thương.
Compassion is a feeling of understanding for someone who is hurt or suffering.
The veterinarian had compassion for the sick little puppy.
Consent.
Bằng lòng.
Consent is permission to do something.
Their mother gave the children consent to go outside and play.
Core.
Lõi.
The core is the center of something.
The rings of a tree start forming at its core.
Cunning.
Khôn vặt.
If someone is cunning, they are good at tricking people.
The cunning child fooled his parents into thinking that he was kind.
Dizzy.
Hoa mắt, chóng mặt.
If someone is dizzy, then they feel off balance as if they will fall down.
The pregnant woman was dizzy after standing up too quickly.
Equilibrium.
Thăng bằng.
Equilibrium is the balance between different forces.
The sudden drop in prices upset the equilibrium of the economy.
Foster.
Nuôi dưỡng.
To foster a feeling or a skill means to help it develop.
She helped foster a sense of calm in the little boy.
Grind.
Xay, nghiền.
To grind something means to break it into very small pieces or powder.
She wanted to grind the beans so she could brew some coffee.
Growl.
Gầm lên.
To growl means to make a deep, angry sound.
The dog started to growl at the man walking by.
Moderation.
Sự điều độ.
Moderation is a state of being just enough, but not too much.
It is important to eat in moderation so that you can have a healthy body.
Predator.
Thú săn mồi.
A predator is an animal that kills and eats other animals.
The peregrine falcon is a predator that eats fish.
Sane.
Sảng khoái.
If someone is sane, they can think in a normal way.
Oliver does not act like a sane person when he is angry.
Saucer.
Đĩa nhỏ.
A saucer is a small round dish that you set a cup on.
He placed the spoon on the saucer.
Snatch.
Chộp lấy, vồ
To
lấy.
snatch something means to take it away with a quick motion.
He was so hungry that he snatched an apple from a tree.
Stagger.
Loạng choạng.
To stagger means to move in an unsteady way and almost fall over.
He staggered around after having too much to drink.
Stumble.
Vấp.
To stumble means to put your foot down wrong so that you almost fall.
He stumbled as he ran through the puddle.
Tense.
Căng thẳng.
If someone is tense, they are worried something bad might happen.
After the phone call, Monica was very tense.
Tumble.
Ngã nhào.
To tumble means to fall, often in a rolling way.
He lost his balance while snowboarding and tumbled to the ground.
Withhold.
Giấu.
To withhold something is to not give it to someone.
They withheld all information until she paid her fine.
Unit 25. Word list. Aircraft.
Máy bay.
An aircraft is a vehicle that flies in the sky, such as an airplane or helicopter.
At the museum in the airport, you can see a lot of old aircraft.
Celebrity.
Người nổi tiếng.
A celebrity is someone who is famous.
It was the highlight of the evening when the celebrities arrived.
Concrete.
Bê tông.
Concrete is a substance made from stones.
The man covered the ground with concrete.
Decisive.
Quyết đoán, quyết định.
If someone is decisive, they make decisions quickly.
Our boss is very decisive, so it did not take long to organize the project.
Esteemed.
Sự kính mến.
If someone is esteemed, many people like or respect them.
An esteemed scientist is coming to the university to talk about her discoveries.
Ethical.
Luân thường đạo lý.
If something is ethical, it is the right thing to do.
Many people believe that it is ethical to help others in need.
Extinct.
Tuyệt chủng.
If plants or animals are extinct, there are none left.
There used to be dinosaurs all over the world, but now they are extinct.
Hardy.
Khỏe.
If a person or plant is hardy, it is strong and can live through difficult conditions.
The farmer is a hardy man and doesn't mind working outside.
Institute.
Viện nghiên cứu.
An institute is an organization that is interested in research or teaching.
I'm going to a lecture about ancient Rome at the Historical Institute.
Jealousy.
Lòng ghen tị.
Jealousy is a feeling of wanting something that somebody else has.
She felt a lot of jealousy when she saw Luke with 2 girls.
Migrate.
Di trú.
To migrate means to move from one place to another.
Many birds migrate to warmer countries in the winter.
Nurture.
Nuôi dưỡng.
To nurture something means to care for it as it grows or develops.
Robert nurtured his plants, and that is why they grow so well.
Overhead.
Ở trên đầu.
If something is overhead, it is located above you.
As we sat on top of the hill, a plane flew overhead.
Nguồn
Principle.
gốc.
A principle is a belief about the correct way to behave.
To maintain principles, it's vital to watch, listen, and speak carefully.
Rural.
Nông thôn.
If a place is rural, it is in the countryside instead of the city.
I want to live in a small house in a rural area.
Secluded.
Hẻo lánh.
If a place is secluded, it is far away from any other place.
There was a secluded bench in the park.
Species.
Loài.
A species is a type of plant or animal.
There are 21 different species of butterfly in this forest.
Swamp.
Đầm lầy.
A swamp is a very wet area of land.
There are lots of wild animals living in the swamp.
Traverse.
Đi qua.
To traverse means to move or travel through an area.
The explorer traversed the desert alone on a camel.
Zoology.
Động vật học.
Zoology is a subject in which people study animals.
Helen wants to study zoology because she has always liked animals.
Gilbert and the lizard. Assumption.
Cho rằng.
An assumption is something that you believe is true but cannot prove.
I went to the cafeteria on the assumption that everyone would be there.
Lúa
Barley.
mạch.
Barley is a grain that is used for animal feed, health food, and beer.
The farmer grew barley to feed his cows in the winter.
Beast.
Thú dữ.
A beast is a large, dangerous animal.
A lion is one of the fiercest beasts on earth.
Colonel.
Đại tá.
A colonel is a military officer.
James has been given a promotion in the army. He is now a colonel.
Contagious.
Lây.
If a disease is contagious, it is easily carried from one person to another.
You must wear protective clothing because the patient's illness is contagious.
Corpse.
Xác chết.
A corpse is a dead body of a human.
After the accident, the corpse was taken to the hospital.
Crisis.
Khủng hoảng.
A crisis is a situation that is extremely stressful or dangerous.
The airport workers' strike led to a crisis at the airport.
Cure.
Điều trị.
To cure means to cause an illness or injury to end or disappear.
My dentist cured me of my toothache.
Deformed.
Bị biến dạng.
If something is deformed, it is not shaped normally and may appear ugly.
Even though the carrot was deformed, it was still safe to eat.
Discriminate.
Đối xử phân biệt.
To discriminate means to judge people according to their looks.
They discriminated against her because she was different.
Embassy.
Đại sứ quán.
An embassy is where government officials work in a foreign country.
If you lose your passport, you should contact the embassy.
Extinguish.
Dập tắt.
To extinguish a fire means to make it stop.
Michael extinguished the small fire with the hose.
Flint.
Đá lửa.
Flint is a hard stone that people used to make weapons for hunting.
There are a lot of flint tools in the museum.
Harass.
Quấy rối.
To harass someone means to annoy or trouble them.
The children harassed their mother because they wanted her attention.
Integrate.
Hợp nhất.
To integrate means to join, communicate, and socialize.
Governments want immigrants to integrate with the population.
Miniature.
Nhỏ.
If something is miniature, it is very small.
The boy enjoys playing with his miniature train set in his bedroom.
Nutrition.
Sự dinh dưỡng.
Nutrition is the process by which people use food to stay healthy.
It is important to pay attention to nutrition if you want to be an athlete.
Promptly.
Nhanh chóng.
If something happens promptly, it happens quickly or on time.
Arrive promptly, or we won't have time to discuss everything.
Technician.
Người làm kỹ thuật.
A technician is a person who is skilled in electronic or mechanical work.
I need to call the technician to help me with my computer.
Tropics.
Vùng nhiệt đới.
The tropics are the areas of land and sea close to the equator.
People like to go to the tropics for vacation because it's warm.
Beneficial.
Có lợi.
If something is beneficial, it is good for you.
Drinking milk every day is beneficial to your bones.
Birthplace.
Nơi sinh.
A birthplace is a place where a person is born or where something started.
China is the birthplace of chopsticks.
Capacity.
Sức chứa.
The capacity of something is the amount of things that can be put in it.
The parking lot has reached its full capacity.
Comparative.
Tương đối, so
If
sánh.
something is comparative, it is being judged based on something else.
The money that John has is comparative to most other adults.
Comprehensive.
Bao hàm toàn diện.
If something is comprehensive, it has all the details about something else.
The teacher gave us a comprehensive review for the exam.
Conserve.
Bảo tồn.
To conserve something is to protect it from being ruined or used completely.
The group worked to conserve the beauty of Europe's national parks.
Crucial.
Quan trọng.
If something is crucial, it is extremely important to another thing.
Clean air is crucial to the survival of humans, plants, and animals.
Cumulative.
Tích lũy, dồn lại.
Cumulative describes an increase by adding one after another.
The cumulative snowfall in the area is 50 centimeters per year.
Deposit.
Gửi, đặt.
To deposit something is to put it into a place or another thing.
I deposited the money into my bank account.
Distribute. To distribute something is to give it to a number of people.
Phân phối.
The teacher distributed crayons and markers to his students.
Equator.
Xích đạo.
The equator is an imaginary line that splits the Earth into north and south.
The equator crosses the northern part of South America.
Exotic.
Vật ngoại lai.
Exotic describes something unusual because it is from far away.
Rebecca tried many exotic foods on her trip to Africa.
Federal.
Thuộc liên bang.
If something is federal, it comes from the government of a country.
Sometimes federal laws are different from state laws.
Formation.
Sự hình thành.
A formation is the way that something is made.
The formation of ice happens when water freezes.
Frequency.
Tần suất.
The frequency of something is the number of times that it happens.
The frequency of rainstorms is very high, especially during the spring.
Objective.
Mục tiêu.
An objective is a goal or plan that someone has.
My objective this week is to finish my homework by 7:30 every night.
Oxygen.
Oxy.
Oxygen is a gas that all living things need to breathe.
My aunt believes that the oxygen in the country is cleaner than in the city.
Rainforest.
Rừng mưa nhiệt đới.
A rainforest is a forest that is in a place where it rains very often.
The rainforest is home to many animals.
Strategy.
Chiến lược.
A strategy is a plan for how to do something.
The team came up with a strategy to win the game.
Wooded.
Lắm rừng, có nhiều
If an
cây.
area is wooded, it is covered with trees.
Jim and Ben decided to go hiking in the wooded area by the river.
A dying forest. Avail.
Ích lợi.
Avail is help. It is often used in the achievement of a goal.
His studying was to no avail because he failed the test.
Expand.
Nở ra, phồng ra.
To expand is to become bigger in size.
A balloon will expand as you blow air into it.
Define.
Định nghĩa.
To define means to clearly state, show, or explain what something is.
People define success in many different ways.
Dread.
Khiếp sợ.
To dread is to be afraid of something that could or is going to happen.
I dread the idea that I will not get into college.
Fundamental.
Cơ bản.
If something is fundamental, it is a basic part of something.
The fundamental rules for basketball are easy.
Horrifying.
Kinh hoàng.
If something is horrifying, it is frightening and very unpleasant.
There was a horrifying car accident today.
Incredulous.
Hoài nghi.
If someone is incredulous about something, they do not believe that it is true.
She was incredulous that monkeys could ever drive a car.
Linger.
Kéo dài.
To linger is to last for a long time.
The smell of fresh cookies lingered in the bakery.
Organism.
Sinh vật.
An organism is a living thing, especially a very small one.
We studied the organism on the microscope.
Paraphrase.
Diễn giải.
To paraphrase is to make someone else's writing or speech shorter.
The students were asked to paraphrase the story they just heard.
Plague.
Dịch bệnh.
A plague is a serious disease that quickly spreads to many people.
A plague in Europe killed millions of people.
Presently.
Hiện nay.
If something happens presently, it is happening right now.
Presently, our profits are good, but by next year, we can do even better.
Random.
Ngẫu nhiên.
If something is random, it happens without any pattern or reason.
Young children often ask random questions.
Riot.
Cuộc nổi loạn.
A riot is a crowd that reacts to bad news by violently breaking laws.
A riot broke out after the candidate lost the election.
Scribble.
Viết nghịch ngoạc.
To scribble is to write something quickly, without caring about how it looks.
I scribbled a rough diagram of our plan and gave it to him.
Shrine.
Điện thờ.
A
Lăng
shrine
mộ.
is a religious building built to honor a person, event, or God.
He prayed at the shrine for an hour.
Solitude.
Tình trạng cô đơn.
Solitude is the state of being totally alone.
John lives a life of solitude because he doesn't get along well with people.
Stark.
Tình.
If a contrast is stark, then the things being compared are utterly different.
Hoàn toàn.
There is a stark contrast between their test scores.
Summon.
Gọi, triệu tập.
To summon a person is to ask them to come to you.
We summoned the doctor as soon as we noticed she was sick.
Worsen.
Trở nên xấu hơn.
To worsen is to get worse.
The weather suddenly worsened, and we had to stay inside.
Word list. Automobile.
Xe ô tô.
An automobile is a car.
The first automobiles were very different from the ones that exist today.
Candidate.
Người ứng cử.
A candidate is a person who is competing to win something, such as a job.
Alice is the best candidate for the job.
Confidential.
Bí mật.
If something is confidential, it must be kept secret.
The information from the meeting is confidential.
Corporate. Corporate.
Đoàn thể.
If something is corporate, it is related to a large business.
Tom enjoys working in the corporate world.
Enhance.
Đề cao.
To enhance something is to make it better.
Amy's blue shirt really enhances the color of her eyes.
Era.
Kỷ nguyên.
An era is a period of time that has something special about it.
During the medieval era, knights wore protective armor.
Guideline.
Nguyên tắc chỉ đạo.
A guideline is a rule about how to do something.
Before they began the project, the teacher gave them some guidelines.
Incorporate.
Kết hợp.
To incorporate is to add something to another thing.
I decided to incorporate a new ingredient into my cake recipe.
Interact.
Tương tác.
To interact is to talk to or do something with another person.
The kids began to interact when the adults left the room.
Interval.
Khoảng.
An interval is the time between two things happening.
Tony rested for brief intervals while he worked in the yard.
Mobile.
Di động.
If something is mobile, it can be moved easily.
Mobile phones are popular because you can take them anywhere.
Modify.
Thay đổi.
To modify something is to change it a little bit.
I modified my outfit by adding a belt to it.
Parallel.
Song song.
If two things are parallel, they are the same distance away from each other.
There are two yellow parallel lines dividing both sides of traffic.
Phenomenon.
Hiện tượng.
A phenomenon is something that can be seen as it is happening.
I was amazed when I saw the phenomenon of shooting stars.
Pollute. To pollute means to make air, water, or land dirty, unclean, or foul.
Gây ô nhiễm.
The careless factory polluted the river with chemicals.
Ridicule.
Sự chế nhạo.
To ridicule is to make fun of something in a mean way.
The other students ridiculed Peter's foreign accent.
Solar.
Thuộc mặt trời.
If something is solar, it is related to the sun.
Using solar energy is good for the environment.
Territory.
Lãnh thổ.
A territory is a piece of land that belongs to a country but isn't a state.
Gibraltar is a territory of Great Britain.
Tournament.
Cuộc đấu.
A tournament is a competition, usually with many people participating.
My dad is playing in a golf tournament tomorrow.
Transportation.
Sự vận tải.
Transportation is any type of vehicle that can carry people or things.
I don't have a car, so my normal transportation is the train.
Unit 30. Word list. Bill.
Hóa đơn.
A bill is a statement of money owed for goods or a service.
I have so many bills that I do not know how to pay for them all.
Boundary.
Ranh giới.
A boundary is the line where one area of land stops and another begins.
This fence shows the boundary between our yard and yours.
Chaos.
Sự hỗn loạn.
Chaos is a situation that is confusing and not ordered.
His presentation was in chaos. I couldn't understand what he meant.
Consistent.
Phù hợp.
If a person is consistent, they keep the same behavior or attitude.
Sarah comes in every day and is our most consistent worker.
Cyclone.
Lốc xoáy.
A cyclone is a large storm with heavy rain and winds that spin in a circle.
Hundreds of homes were damaged by the cyclone.
Doomed.
Phải chịu số phận.
If someone or something is doomed, they are going to fail or be destroyed.
Since I spent all my money, my date with Jane is doomed.
Heir.
Người thừa kế.
An heir is a person who receives money or property of someone who dies.
The princess was the heir to the king and queen's throne.
Martial.
Quân sự.
If something is martial, it is related to fighting or war.
Karate is a martial art that began many years ago in Japan.
Organic.
Hữu cơ.
If food is organic, it is grown without adding chemicals to it.
The organic carrots are more expensive, but they're better for you.
Poultry.
Chim nuôi.
Poultry is a bird, such as a chicken, that is used for meat and eggs.
He raises poultry and sells their meat for extra money.
Scramble.
Bò trườn.
To scramble is to move somewhere quickly and desperately.
The hikers scrambled down the side of the hill.
Sergeant.
Hoàn toàn. Trung
A
sĩ.
sergeant is a soldier or police officer of middle rank.
He was promoted to sergeant after a year in the army.
Sheer.
Hoàn toàn.
If you describe something as sheer, it is complete and very strong.
I was impressed by her sheer dedication to jogging.
Stance.
Lập trường.
A stance is an attitude about an issue that someone states clearly.
My stance is that using oil and gas is bad for the environment.
Telegraph.
Bức điện báo.
A telegraph is a method of sending electric messages on wires.
In the 1900s, the telegraph was the fastest way to send a message.
Textile.
Hàng dệt, vải.
Textile is cloth that has been woven or knitted.
The blue textile was going to be used to make blouses.
Tornado.
Bão có vòi rồng.
A tornado is a tube-shaped formation of air that spins very quickly.
During a tornado, the safest place is to be underground.
Typhoon.
Bão nhiệt đới.
A typhoon is a large tropical storm that moves in circles.
Thousands of people lost electricity after a typhoon hit Australia.
Wail.
Than khóc.
To wail is to show sadness by crying loudly.
The baby wailed because it was hungry.
Wardrobe.
Tủ quần áo.
A wardrobe is the collection of all of a person's clothing.
She bought some new clothes to expand her wardrobe.